Hey guys, so today we're going to be working with telling time, and if you'll notice there's two sheets that say day 2. So this one is one sheet, and you don't have to for the lesson, but I just provided this so you could use some clocks and some hands for the clock so that you can kind of practice. You're just going to have to practice laying them on there. If we were at school, I have some brads that we could put in there, so maybe you can move them around, but still it would probably tear up our paper after a while. So I wouldn't glue them, just so that you could have them to work with. So when you're finished with these, whenever you decide to cut them out and work with them, put them in a sandwich baggie, and then you'll always have a clock to kind of work with at home. So today we're going to look at some clocks with some times on them, and we're going to decide if the time on the clock and the digital time are true or are they false. So we're going to try to decide if what the paper says is true or false. So let's look at our first clock. Here's our first clock. So I'm going to move this false down here. So I have this arrow going between the 2 and the 3, and it's short, so that's telling me the time of the hour. Okay, and then I have this one going to the 6, so that means we have 30 on the end of our timekeeper. So we talked yesterday about that once our minute hand goes around to the 6, that our hour hand is moving the whole time towards the next number, but it hasn't got to that next number. So for instance, here our hour hand has moved from 2, it's on its way to 3, but if it hasn't got to 3, then it's still in the 2 o'clock hour. So this says 2:30 down here. Is this clock showing 2:30? Yes, it is. So we would put it up here with our true time. True time. Let's look at another clock. So this down here says 9:30, so let's check. The long hand's on the 6, so the timekeeper part is right, the 3 zeros right. Then it looks like here it's been to the 9, but it's not quite to the 10, so it can't be 10:30, it has to be 9:30. So is that one true? Yep. All right, so let's look at another one. So right here, I have the time of 7:30 on the digital time. So we've got to look to see if our analog clock matches. So our long hand is pointing to the 6, so the 30 part is right. And then our short hand is the hour hand. It's been at 7, but it's not to 8 yet. So it would be 7:30. Okay, it goes with the number before. When it's in between two numbers, it goes to the number before. So 7:30. So that one's true. All right, so let's look at this one. It says, what time down here on digital time? Can you tell me? 3:30. So if we look up here at the analog time, so it's not at the 2, but it's not at the 3. So it would be, since it hasn't gotten to 3, it has to be 2:30. Does that match the digital time here? No, so we'll have to put this one down here with the false out of the picture. I don't have room to get it all in there. So let's look at this clock. So what is the digital time shown? Did you say 6:30? Cool. Now let's see if our analog clock matches. So our long hand's down at the 6, so that's the 30 part. But the hour hand is pointing up here. It's not pointing at the 6, so it can't be 6:30. What time is it? It's between 9 and 10, but it hasn't got to 10, so it has to be 9:30. So that one's false too. My goodness. Somebody forgot to tell time. All right, so let's look at this one. Tell me the digital time. 12:30. Now let's look at the analog time. So our longhand's pointing to the 6, so the 30 part is right. It's between, the hour hand is between 12 and 1, so it still belongs to the 12. So is this time 12:30? Yes, and it matches this one. So we're going to put it up there with true. We're going to do one more. So let's look at this one. Oops. All right. So tell me the digital time. 10:30. Our longhand's pointing to 6, so the 30 part is right. Our shorthand is between the 10 and the 11, so it hasn't passed 11, so it can't be 11. It has to go with 10, 10:30, and that one is correct as well. All right, so let's look at what we're going to do today. So we have, it says time to the hour and half hour, a quick check. So we're going to put it right there. And it says write the time on each. So we have to look here to see. Okay, so it's between the 2 and the 3. So it's not 3 yet, so we have to go with 2. This longhand's pointed to the 6, so what does that mean? Has to say 30 here because when that minute hand's at the 6, 30 minutes have gone by. Okay. On our next one, it's between the 12 and the 1. It hasn't got to the 1, so it has to be 12. What? This one's pointing to the 6. So it has to be 12:30. Okay. Let's look at the next two. So if I drew a little line here from the arrow, my arrow's between the 8 and 9, so it hasn't got to 9 yet. So it has to be 8. The minute hand's pointing to 6, so that means our minutes are 30. So 8:30. And then our last one, if we drew straight out from the arrow, it's past the 1, has not got to the 2, so it still is in the 1 house. So it would be 1, and our minute hand's on the 6, so that's 30. 1:30. All right, if you're not with me, you can just push pause till you get it finished. So this side of your paper, we have to draw the time on the analog clock. So what's the digital time here? It says 12:30. Okay, so the 30 part's easiest. I'm going to draw that arrow down and touch the 6. So 12:30 means that the short arrow goes kind of toward the in between the 12 and the 1 as close as you can. We're not perfect. And there you have 12:30. Okay. So the next clock, what does it say? 6:30. So again, the minutes, the 30 minutes, that's easy. We draw it to the 6. And then our hour hand is going to go just barely to the beside it. So it can point between the 6 and 7 to make 6:30. That's kind of hard to draw. Okay. What's our digital time here? 4:30. So again, I like to draw my minute hand first and get that out of the way. And then it's past 4, but not quite 5, so I make my shorthand point between the 4 and the 5 to make 4:30. Now, sometimes in first grade, we go ahead and we have you draw that pointing to the hour without putting it in the middle, but if you can try to get it in between, that's best, because that's what real clocks look like. So, in other words, on this 1:30, let me show you. 1:30, we know we're going to the 6. So a lot of times in first grade, if you just draw it towards the 1, we take that. That way we know which number you're pointing to exactly. Now, if we wanted to do it just right, we'd make it go between the 1 and 2. But if you need to make it point to the hour, I'm okay with that. All right, so that is working on telling time to the half hour on digital clocks and analog clocks. And don't forget, you can sometime today or this week cut you out a couple of clocks in the hands, and you could be working on telling time with a grown-up or older sibling. And then when you're finished with these, put them in a baggie and then get it back out and practice it another day. All right, see you guys later.